It was a brutal day for injuries.
Yeah.
And honestly, like the Lions losing 2 defenders, that's actually better than a normal weekend for Detroit. But these are 2 important players who are going, like Carlton Davis went down in that game, going to IR. Like they're fucked. I think they're
just
fucked.
Keeps getting punched in the face.
Yeah,
I mean, again, you look at that defense too. I mean, they could not stop the Bills at all. Like the entire game. You know, Josh Allen was running all over them, man. I mean, they had no response to it. You know, and they didn't go away. They kept fighting, but
no, yeah, their offense can hang. They can beat a lot of teams, but I don't. When you lose that many starters, and it's not just they're on IR, like maybe they get Anzalone back at the end of the season. Maybe they get Hutchinson back if they can stay alive in the playoffs, you know, long enough, but it's bad. It is bad. Detroit on the injury front.
You know, Josh Allen's stat line is crazy. 23 for 34, 362 yards, was not sacked once, had 2 touchdowns, also had 2 rushing touchdowns and 68 yards on the ground. And also, real quick, to talk about that defense of the Lions, you could see the impact due to the lack of pass rush. Because Josh Allen, there was times where he had all day. He had all the room to maneuver in the pocket and in the backfield. And I think that made a significant difference. But holy crap, Jared Goff, 38 for 59. So he threw the ball over 40 times against the Packers. Now he threw the ball nearly 60 times, 494 yards.
Yeah.
5 touchdowns, was sacked 3 times. Like, they definitely can hang with any team. But once again, and this happened against the Packers too, there was no run game whatsoever. Now here, they went down pretty early. They were down 14-0, so they had to just throw the ball more. So that kind of makes a lot more sense. But it goes back to like the kind of game the Lions want to play. They want to be able to grind people down and have like Montgomery and Gibbs lead that charge. And Jared Goff only throws the ball 20 times. He obviously can throw it 60 times and find success. But at the same time, you know, it's not the usual winning formula for this Detroit team. Usually.
No, they did throw a touchdown to Dan Skipper, so that was pretty cool. We'd like to see a Dan Skipper touchdown. I didn't get to watch a lot of this game in terms of the way I want to, but I did have it on during the Broncos game, and I was going back to it quite a bit, and I was like, this is very divisive for me because being such a passionate Broncos fan, a game that was really important for the Broncos where, you know, they win and they're basically guaranteed a playoff spot. And I was still drawn by the matchup that was Bills-Lions. Like I was still shifting my attention to that game at moments during the Broncos game. And I would have never done that before. Then it's one, because I wanted to see good things for both of those teams. But 2, it's just such a matchup. Yeah. And I mean, I just don't know how you stop Josh Allen at this point. And they've beat the Chiefs and now they beat the Lions. So the Bills have the track record to show they can outplay the best teams. Now, if the Lions defense was healthy, who the fuck knows who the Lions are right now? Yeah. That's a what if, and it feels like it's going to be the thing that takes a Super Bowl out of their paws. But
so here's the thing too, right? So I just want to pull this up. Like, this is the amount of injury, and there's some big names that are on that list, obviously, and it's brutal. But I think there's a lot of
Spencer. I never leave the house.
I think there's a lot of doom and gloom, or at least there was some doom and gloom with the Lions fan base yesterday. Because 1, it's been a while since they lost a game this season, 1. Sure. And 2, I think looking at the outlook and going like, oh man, like our defense allowed that, like the defense did not look good yesterday. They just weren't good.
Yeah.
You're also going up against one of, if not the best team in the league with the Buffalo Bills, right? Like that's one
of the best offensive lines too. I think that's one thing we haven't talked a lot about the Bills. Josh Allen, no sacks, he said, right? No sacks. And I think it's 2 games in a row without a sack. Like he's got the most time he's ever had to throw.
But like the Bills are a great football team. And And someone just mentioned too, right? There was even some complaints about the Bills. That was it, like 3 out of the 5 playoff teams, they allowed 35 plus points. Again, I cannot say this more clearly. There are no perfect teams in the NFL this season. There are none. I'm not talking about record. Well, that too, but I'm not talking about record. I'm talking about play. It's literally week to week. Look at the Buffalo Bills, who lost to the Rams last week, right? Yeah. Lost to the Rams, who the Rams they didn't score a freaking touchdown on Thursday. Yeah. Again, divisional games have been crazy. Some of these matchups have been nuts. And at the end of the day, the Lions have to take down folks in the NFC. And I think that they have proven that they can go toe-to-toe, even with a battered defense, with anybody in the NFC. I know everybody wants to see the Lions-Eagles, which I think would be a phenomenal football game. But I don't think that there is a need for doom or gloom, because you're talking about the Eagles, the Lions, Packers, I think, can hang with anybody. Vikings might be in that competition. We'll see how they play tonight against the Bears, because that's a divisional game. You never know. That was crazy before. Those are like teams in the NFC, like, okay, they go toe-to-toe with anybody. Hell, look at the Buccaneers, man. The Buccaneers, they struggled with the Panthers going into overtime, and then they obliterated one of the best defenses in football. So it's just about, can you string enough wins together in the postseason to get to the Super Bowl? And I think the Lions, even after yesterday, are still one of those teams. So I think the Eagles are one of those teams. You know, obviously they had a dominant win yesterday, but it's the same exact thing with the AFC. The Bills haven't looked perfect all year. Josh Allen's on a tear right now. He's looking really, really good. The Chiefs, they are beaten up to hell. We'll see what happens with Patrick Mahomes, but you can't count them out, right? Like,
he already won a Super Bowl with a high ankle sprain. That is completely irrelevant to me at this point.
So, I don't know if we're staring at an Eagles-Chiefs Super Bowl.
I tweeted that last night. I was like, Bills Lions Super Bowl we deserve, but we're gonna get fucking Eagles Chiefs again, aren't we?
We don't get Eagles Chiefs again. I just don't. I'm bored of the matchup.
Yeah.
But
I'm bored of the matchup. I think the Eagles defense will actually be better suited to defend Patrick Mahomes, because Fangio coached against Mahomes for 3 years here in Denver, and even though the Broncos kept losing those fucking games, like, he was coaching those defenses to be competitive.